in Cameroon, I mean.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a different culture than just American public school where I made friends with some of the kids in my neighborhood and my parents trusted them. Not sure if that was the best idea, but...
Hello guys, welcome to the Forest Full of Stories. It's episode 2 of the show that I've started recently. So basically, the whole premise of this is everybody has a story. There's people living interesting lives, people coming from all walks of life, and everybody has an interesting story, as I just said. And we're gonna move on to our guest number 2.
Hi.
So introduce yourself.
My name is Josiah. My last name is Sanchez, so it's Josiah Sanchez. What else do you want to know?
So let's go from the beginning. So where are you from?
So I was born in California in the United States, and I lived there until I was 5 years old. Then when I was 5, my family moved to Cameroon for 2 years. That's where I did kindergarten and first grade. And after that, I moved back to California and lived there for 5 more years. Did most of my elementary school there, kind of had like my childhood. And then from grade 7 until I graduated high school, I lived in Tanzania.
So Cameroon to Tanzania. You lived in
Cameroon to America to Tanzania. Yes.
So just so I get the timeline, how long have you lived in Cameroon, you said?
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah,
So
kindergarten and first grade.
any memories from there?
A lot of memories, yeah.
Yeah, so it's that age where some people forget about like what they've done. Like what's the most, let's say, memorable thing about Cameroon?
About Cameroon? I mean, I think it was very influential in like shaping how I see the world, like as a young child, because a lot of kids, especially like in my position, were not like allowed to go out like in the neighborhoods and stuff. Like as a missionary kid, like my family like kind of let me go out and explore, and I made friends with some of the kids in my neighborhood and my parents trusted them. Not sure if that was the best idea, but I'm here today, so.
Did anything happen? Any like weird moments, weird instances, like when in Cameroon, when you like, let's say, felt unsafe as a kid or anything like that? Or was it pretty smooth sailing?
It was pretty smooth sailing, yeah, when I was there.
Okay.
Nothing really crazy happened.
Okay, so it's your kindergarten, then the next stop is California, right? So
yeah, and then I started California public school.
And
yeah.
how was that?
So that was a bit of a rough transition because obviously it was a different school, which is hard anyways, but it was a completely different country. And I was in more of a smaller, basically homeschool. It was like a communal homeschool kind of vibe when I was in Cameroon. So that was very different than a public school in America where I was kind of on my own and everything was new and I had to learn like the new systems and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah.
So now, the difference between Cameroon and like the public school, you're saying the biggest difference is you went from a small, like, close-knit community to like just everybody's around you, right?
Yeah. So I lived in a small town in California. So it wasn't really about the size of the community as much, but it was just culture shock, kind of.
Okay.
Because I was in like a small community of like basically white people in Cameroon, I mean. And it's a different culture than just American public school where it's just different. Everything is just a lot different than when like you know all your teachers know you and your parents and everything.
Okay.
So
yeah, and now after that you're saying you went to Tanzania.
Yes, so after I finished grade 6 in America, I moved to Tanzania.
And how old are you at this point?
12.
12. So 12. So you already changed 3 countries. And how was Tanzania? So
the transition to Tanzania was pretty rough, if I'm being completely honest. So looking back, it was the best thing that happened to me, in my opinion. But it was definitely a rough transition because I was very settled in California and kind of had a picture of how I wanted my life to go and how I thought things were going to go. And yeah, that kind of all got shattered. But yeah, looking back, it was definitely for the better.
So it's like expanding your worldview, or are you saying it's the best thing that happened for you? Why? Why do you think that?
Well, I don't know. I was on a very specific like path I would say, when I was there, like, with certain people. Not that they were necessarily bad people, but just, not to badmouth Americans, but it was,
No, you can.
yeah, basically living in America was not, for me, I guess.
Yeah, so
Looking back.
this is your story. If you feel like they weren't, good people or they were bad people, you can express that.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
your
yeah,
interpretation
for
and
sure.
it's your circumstances that you went through. So
Yeah, not necessarily bad people, just, I'm glad to have had the influence change that I had, for sure.
and so Tanzania, how long have you now? So now you're in Tanzania at this point in your life. How long have you stayed there?
So, at this point, it was 10 or 11 years ago that I moved to Tanzania. So, it was a long time ago. So, I lived there for 6 years, and then I've been visiting almost every year since then.
And is your family still there?
Yep, my parents still live there.
Okay, so Tanzania, so there are missionaries in Tanzania?
Yes.
So how did Tanzania shape you? Like, what do you say its biggest lessons that it taught you? And what did you enjoy about it the most? Like, what would you say was the thing that, like, stands out when you think Tanzania,
Tanzania. I mean, it's nice. You have the beach there. I was on, like, a coastal city, but I think the people are really what make, like, a place what it is. And I just really like the culture there in Tanzania.
Okay, you like the culture, and in terms of people, I'm assuming you have friends there, right?
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch?
Yeah, for sure. So I normally visit and see a bunch of people when I go back. It's a really good time. So I would say something that is interesting about that experience and how it shaped me is that just having a wider perspective of how other people can live. And just knowing how lucky you are to have, like, what you have. So I think a lot of people in, like, Europe and especially America consider themselves to be, like, poor or, like, not rich. Like, if you're in the middle class, you think of yourself as broke. Because you're just constantly, like, seeing things online of people who are, like, going on yachts and, like, all of that stuff. But, for example, my school that I went to, literally there's one road behind the school, and then across that road there is a rock quarry. I don't know if you know what a quarry is.
Yeah, like
where they like mine the rocks. Yeah. So it was an abandoned giant quarry where people just build like houses there because
people actually lived there in the abandoned quarry.
Yeah, so people just built their houses there illegally, but like. Okay. No one's coming to get them because it's just a bunch of people. You can't just...
You kick them all out.
You can't kick thousands of people out. And it's like that for very far out in the city. So there's, like, the school I went to, which was one of the nicer schools, let's say, in the city. Because it was just a private Christian school kind of thing. With, like, a very high tuition, especially, like, for the place. So only, like, the more well-off people could afford to go there, especially like Tanzanians. So, yeah, it was just a crazy contrast because you have this nicer school, and then right across it's just the poorest of the poor people that you can think of. So, just constantly like having that like in your, I don't know, not sphere of influence, but like in your vicinity, kind of.
Yeah, so
being exposed to that kind of thing is just, it makes you feel very lucky. Because the thing is, it might be a cliche like, oh, people have nothing, but they're like the happiest people, even though they have nothing. But it's really true because you appreciate the things that are actually important in life, and you're not just thinking about like what is the next thing you can get when you're just when you're just like really struggling just to have food, and you just appreciate life for what it is more.
For the little things, right? And
so you just feel more appreciative because it's just about your mindset. It's not about what you have. It's about what you think about what you have.
Yeah, definitely. Seems like a real eye-opener, right? When you see the true poverty and the like disparity of wealth in certain places. Like, I guess when you go back to America, for example, you realize things are not as bad. Or when people say like, oh, I'm poor, like you said, it's not as pronounced, right? It's like some people might have a little bit less. but
Yeah.
that not necessarily mean they're poor.
And I definitely don't want to like dismiss people who are like struggling in these countries, because everyone has struggles no matter where you are. Like it's I'm not trying to say that like everyone in America doesn't struggle, because obviously like everyone has a hard life to some extent.
Yeah.
But it's just a very different thing, and it's very different to experience it firsthand than to hear about it on the news.
Yeah, I think so. And then, like, this is one of the reasons I really wanted to do the show, because everything is relative, right? Your story is your story.
Yeah.
And you can see things from your perspective. And so, let's say, for example, a person who has never struggled in life and has, like, only seen wealth and everything, his perspective is going to be completely different than yours, which is not necessarily going to be wrong or right? It's just his environment shaped him differently.
Yeah, exactly.
And you coming from a place like where you go Tanzania and you've seen like actual poverty, that's why it's interesting, because you seeing American poverty, which to some could be the worst, is actually not as bad as what you've seen, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure how I would phrase it. Not necessarily not as bad, but it's just a different kind,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah, I understand. And so let's go to the school system. So you went to the school there. You finished school in Tanzania?
Yeah, I finished high school in Tanzania.
Okay,
Yeah.
so how did you do in school? How was school? Did you like school? Like, walk me through that.
Yeah, as I said, the transition to that school was a bit difficult, just because at the time it was something that I did not want, because I just wanted to be back in America. I lived in Cameroon for 2 years, and when I was in school in America, I was like, oh, Africa, that was one thing I did, but now I'm American, I'm living in America. And when my parents told us about moving again back to Africa, I was like, why? Like, just didn't really understand it. And yeah, so it was a tough transition. I remember like crying on the first day of school just because it was overwhelming. Like, just in the last class, like all the emotions just rose up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just a transition period, but it turned out being really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in terms of academically, did you do well?
Yeah, I mean, when your parents are both teachers at the school you go to, and sometimes they're your teacher, there's, not that there was like too much pressure, because I always, I don't know, they gave me a good work ethic when I was like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, working up to get like decent grades in school wasn't that big of a deal. And yeah, it wasn't too difficult for me. I know a lot of people struggle in high school with certain subjects, but it was
okay.
not too bad for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now
I like learning.
your parents are teachers at school. Did that affect you in any way? In any way?
In every way.
Really? Did people like talk to you differently, or do you think there was like some sort of things that happened just because?
Yeah, I mean, it was just like nothing too serious, to be honest. But it's just a bit overwhelming. Not to the fault of my parents at all. Like, not that they did a bad job or anything. It's just the circumstances are tough.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Like, let me put it this way. How would you feel if you were walking into your 9th grade biology class to learn about the reproductive system and your dad was the teacher for your class?
Okay, there are certain situations that you just can't avoid. Yeah,
certain situations, yeah. But, I mean, overall, like, I don't know. It's a little bit of a struggle, but overall it makes you a bit stronger, or shapes you in some kind of way that helps you out.
Yeah, that's definitely right. And now you finished school in Tanzania. What's the next step? What happened then?
All right. So after that, I was looking at some universities in America. Not really sure what I wanted to do. Not that I'm sure now, but yeah, I looked at some schools in America. Wasn't really feeling the vibe too much, and I decided that I wanted to take a gap year because I was kind of done with like classic school. I was like, okay, I'll get a degree, but I need a little bit of a break first, a change of environment, change of pace. So one day, my mom and I were talking about ideas of what to do, and she was like, oh, what if you went to like culinary school in France or like something like that, or like just shooting out ideas. And I was like, oh, that could be fun. Why not? So through some visa processing months later, I found myself in a French cooking school.
So you went to a French cooking school?
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. In actual, like, French cooking school in France, right?
Yes.
Paris?
Not in Paris. It was a town in the south of France, on the coast. So kind of a beach town, similar to Klaipeda, but I guess the rent was cheaper for the winter months. So they had a deal with like a resort to give housing. So.
Oh, that's nice. That's like a nice. Okay, so now you're in this culinary school.
Yeah. So now I'm doing culinary school. Yeah. So I had 3 hours of cooking classes in the morning, and then 3 hours of French class in the afternoon, which was not too bad. It just gets tiring when it's 3 hours of a class, but yeah, it helped a lot, to be honest. And yeah, I enjoyed my time there.
Okay, you enjoyed your time there. So how long was the culinary school for? Like, is that a year, 3 months? How long?
Okay, so the culinary training program, it was 3 months, and the program that I chose included internship as well. So after I was in my training for 3 months, I was applying for internships, and the school helped with that a lot. So I got a placement in a restaurant at a ski town in the French Alps.
Oh, so you had to obviously move there, right?
Yeah, so it was like a seasonal kind of job that a lot of people do, but I got a job as like an intern, which is basically lowest person in the kitchen.
Okay.
So you do all the jobs that nobody else wants to do, basically.
I got it. And how did you find that?
That was very, very difficult. So yeah, that definitely not was a wake-up call, but yeah, toughened me up a little bit.
Okay, so
yeah.
So how long did this last? So how long were you in this Alps?
So it was supposed to be 4 months, but it got cut a little bit short because the snow kind of went away by March, and conveniently COVID also happened at that time. So yeah, that was a kind of weird time.
Okay, so you finished this. I'm assuming you decided this is not what you want, right? Or did you still pursue cooking after this?
No, I never really was interested in pursuing cooking, and yeah, I'm kind of more open to it now, but yeah, it was a very, I don't know how to say, very eye-opening to what the realities of like working that kind of job are, especially as an American, like with all French people around me basically, and like having to communicate in French. So yeah, everyone in the kitchen kind of spoke English a little bit, but I wanted to practice my French obviously, so yeah.
And how's your French now?
My French now is not as good as it was.
Oh,
but
okay.
It was okay. It was okay when I was there. I was communicating pretty well with people.
Oh, that's awesome. And so it toughened you up. Then now COVID happens. What's the next step? What do you do?
So I went from France straight to Tanzania to just hang out with my family and be there. So the laws were a little bit more relaxed there. Yeah, it was handled very uniquely in Tanzania. I'll just say that.
No, it wasn't no masks or no coverings? Or?
Yeah, it was a little bit shaky.
Yeah, no...
Not much action was taken, like, by the government.
Okay.
But, yeah, I thought that was a better idea than just being in mask prison in America.
Yeah, probably. And then did you... how long did you stay in Tanzania after you came back? Till the end of COVID? Or did you go anywhere else?
No. So I was planning to go to university, and I was applying to some schools. I thought about going to art school, but then I decided, I can draw by myself, and get better at drawing by myself. Might not want to pay for that.
Okay, and art school, this is in America. You're applying to?
I actually applied to one in Paris.
Oh, okay. So you enjoyed
So I was thinking about like staying in France a little bit and going to art school in Paris, but it seemed not like what I wanted to spend money on and invest in as much.
Any other options that you applied to?
So the only other place I applied to was LCC in Klaipeda, and my plan was to visit there or study there for a year, maybe 2 maximum, and transfer out somewhere else and figure out what I want to do from there, just as a like place this get started.
Can I interject? Why not America? So I'm hearing Lithuania and France, but not USA.
Well, I mean, university is very expensive in America, and the way to get around that is loans, and I didn't really feel like doing all of that kind of stuff, and I don't really see myself having a job where university degree is like the game changer in what happens.
Okay, yes. So it's financial.
Yeah, and also I don't know, living in America just doesn't interest me as much as a lot of people.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So now you applied to LCC. Obviously, you got you got in.
Yeah.
So walk me through that. How was that? So now you're in another country. So that's like country number 4.
So so it was interesting. When I got to Lithuania, I went straight to the dorms and didn't go outside for 2 weeks except to get a COVID test. So I was on campus for 2 weeks and I still had no idea what the campus even looked like because I had arrived at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So it was still night. So everything was brand new and
Yeah, it's like 2 weeks of self-isolation because of COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and
for
what
some
did you
reason.
study? What was the subject that you chose?
I studied business.
Business.
Yeah. So I looked at the majors at LCC and they only had 6 majors and I picked the one that seemed the most interesting to me.
Okay.
I took business in high school and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed like learning the concepts and stuff, so I was like, okay.
Okay, and how did you even heard about LCC? Like how did that?
So I heard about it from a friend who is from California as well, who was also going.
Oh, to LCC. And he recommended the college.
Yeah, she.
Oh, she.
She basically convinced me to like go for a year and
see how you explore. Like it.
Yeah.
And since you finished, you enjoyed Lithuania, or was it more like you enjoyed the what made you stay? I guess let's put it this way.
Well, I do enjoy Lithuania now. Obviously, I graduated and decided to stay a little bit longer. I really was drawn to it because it was something that I didn't know about, and I don't know. One of the things I want to do in life is explore a lot of places and new places that are different than anywhere I've been, and Lithuania checks all those for sure.
Yeah, I guess so. From what you said, it's definitely a different kind of culture and vibe.
Yeah, so I want to try and visit every like region of the world, and like the whole Eastern Europe region is somewhere that I'd never even like heard of. Oh, obviously heard of, but not like thought of visiting before. And here was an opportunity where I could do that for an affordable price. So
okay, yeah, that's sounds like a good reason. So now you finished LCC, you got your business degree. Now what do you do then?
What do I do then? I talked to my friend Alex and we decided to move to Vilnius, to the capital city, which is where we are right now.
Yeah, in this moment.
Live. And our other friend joined us after he was done in America for the summer, and now we all live together here in this house.
Okay, so what do you do for like to sustain yourself, or business or whatever?
So I got a business degree, which I just got to say I have a bachelor's degree when I was applying for jobs.
Yeah, it can't hurt.
So so currently I am a lot of things. I have a part-time job teaching English online. And I also do graphic design and art, which are slowly becoming more profitable. And I also DJ on the side. So yeah. Okay, and out of these ventures, what do you see yourself as most? What ideally, what would you do if it's what was your choice and like the money wasn't a problem? If the money wasn't a problem. I mean, I think I would still try to do a lot of things together.
Yeah, you're not just focusing on one thing. You want to express yourself in different ways.
Yeah, so I have gone through like a lot of phases in my life of like learning a skill and then completely ditching it, keeping the skills but completely ditching it and like going all in on another skill. For example, when I was around the time I just moved to Tanzania, I was really into like weapons and like ninjas. And like ninja stars, throwing axes and stuff like that. And then after that, around 8th grade to 9th grade, I was into doing magic tricks.
Okay.
So yeah, you can ask anyone that knew me around that time. I was pretty obsessed with
So
magic
you do
tricks
like
and
card
stuff.
tricks and
Yeah,
card
card
history and
tricks,
stuff like
all that, yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So yeah.
And then after that is when I started DJing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw one of the guys at my school doing like DJing on his phone, like on an app.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So I got that app and started like messing around. And then I started messing around on my laptop with it. And then got some equipment and then got better equipment. And then now I'm doing it and making money with it, which is super awesome.
Nice. And do you do anything here in Vilnius? Like, do you have any shows lined up, or like, how do you?
Yeah, I have a few places where I'm a regular.
Okay.
So.
And how's that going? Do you, like, what's how do I say this? What do you enjoy the most about being the DJ? Like, what drives you? What do you enjoy the most?
Well, I've always loved music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, since I was a kid, I would always even before I had like an iPod or anything, I would just listen to the radio before I go to sleep at night, like on my alarm clock, just to like, yeah. I always was drawn to like listening to music and like stuff like that. And even when we would have parties at our house when I was a young kid, I would think it would be fun to like be the DJ, which meant pressing play on the CDs on the CD player, like not actually DJing, but just like being in charge of like something. So, yeah, I always kind of was drawn into it, and then kind of learned the skills and learned what it actually like means to mix the songs together. And
so I guess my another question is, so DJing is you're doing it right in front of the crowd, right? You're not just just producing in your own bedroom and just releasing the song. You're actually there with the people. Mm-hmm. What do you say? Do you enjoy that aspect of it?
Yeah, that's for sure the most fun part, because when you find like the group of people that like the music that you also like, and you play it and mix it in a way that's interesting to you, and you get to share that with other people, I think that's where the real fun happens.
Yeah, that does sound fun, actually.
It's not fun when you're playing pop music and some drunk people are asking you to play, and like you can't even see the screen on their phone.
Yeah,
like typing it on the notes app and like holding it up. But yeah, if you get a good show or like a good community of people that are into the same thing as you, that's when it's really the best.
That's the best.
Yeah.
And what kind of music do you prefer? Like what is your forte?
I prefer to have a variety of music. So obviously I'm really into hip hop, and living in Tanzania also had a huge influence on like the music that I listen to and like. So there's a lot of Afro beats mixed in with it. And then I went on a trip where I was DJing my friend's wedding in the UK.
Oh, that's cool.
And I discovered UK Garage.
Oh,
so
music,
now I'm super into that as well. So yeah, I think the thing that is most interesting is mixing all of my influences together to make something unique. Yeah.
Okay, and up until this moment, what is the biggest show that you had, or the most memorable thing, like as a DJ?
The most memorable? It's probably would be something from in Tanzania, where they have bigger shows compared to here, kind of, or it's more kind of accessible. One of the first times I DJ'd in Tanzania was on Christmas, on Christmas Day, and that was a really cool experience. It was one of my first like more serious gigs, kind of, and yeah, I did well on that, and then got invited back for the next week at New Year's, and it was a huge stage with a bunch of people there, and yeah, I got an early set, and nobody was there yet, so I was DJing on this huge stage at like 9:30, and nobody was there for like the New Year's party, and then the promoter asked me to do another set later, and I was like, oh, okay, why not? So I DJ'd like from 4 a.m. until 6 a.m. on New Year's Day, and that was really fun. Because it was just, I was on like the big stage with all the people there, and that was one of the first times where I saw people dancing to my own songs that I made.
Oh, so so you play your own music, your people are dancing.
So I was getting into like the genre that was big there at the time, and that was a pretty cool experience. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's like a small moment where it's like I'm not getting any extra money for this. I'm not like doing anything else or like getting anything other than like my own like satisfaction that like
people are
all of this like work that I did since I was in high school is like at least bare minimum starting to pay off, and like I'm getting somewhere, you know?
Okay, so from high school to now, how long have you been doing it?
Started around 10th grade, so that would be probably 6 or 7 years.
Oh, so that's quite a lot. Okay, and one thing I'm also very fascinated by. So you're in a new city, new country. You need to obviously find places to play, right? You need to find gigs. How do you do that? What's your process?
So the process is learning to handle rejection. So yeah, during COVID in university, it was really difficult because like obviously there were no parties even allowed. So for the first couple of years, like there were no opportunities. And so I would start just like, I would make a poster one day and like say, oh, come to this room in the dorms. And then just like bring a speaker and like just DJ for like 10 people in the dorm just to like do something, have some kind of fun.
To hone your craft, right? To just actually do it. Yeah, okay.
Because you get bored of like doing it just in your room after a while. So yeah, I was just doing anything you can. Obviously doing a lot of school events because that was one way that was accessible. There was one place where I ended up playing a lot, and the way it worked, how I got like the relationship with them was literally just walking up, asking to talk to the manager, saying, I'm a DJ, I'm wondering if you guys are looking for DJs. And then you do one night for free, and then they were like, oh you're good, you got it. And then, then just kept playing there.
Okay, and so handle rejection, you approach people, right? You just have to, you just have to do it. There's no way to around it,
because when you're just starting out, it's like,
nobody knows you.
You have no like credibility, so you kind of have to like prove yourself.
Okay.
But then if you put in the work and like make sure that you have the skills and the knowledge to do it, then other things work out if you're just consistent and do it.
That's fair enough. So we're up to now. You're a man of many talents. Like I can see around the work you did is amazing. It's like really nice. I guess we can get some footage of, like pictures of.
Yeah, sure.
Add them here because there's actually plenty of amazing stuff drawn and everything, so that's nice.
Thank you.
I haven't heard your music, but like we need to definitely listen to that.
Yeah, link in the description.
We'll add that definitely. And to finish off, my favorite question is, what do you think are the main things that shaped you? Like 3 things from your birth to now that you would think made a huge impact on you, shaped you as a human. And one thing, so I'll give it up to you.
I think one thing could be definitely the places that I've lived. I can just do an umbrella, I could make all 3 of them the 3 different places that I've lived. But I'll just say one is living internationally and just experiencing a lot of different cultures. There's a lot of drawbacks, don't get me wrong, because you kind of, there's like a joke in the community of people that like live like in different countries when they're young. That's like, everyone always asks, where is home? And it's like such a big question. I'm sure if you're one of these people, they're called like third culture kids. Like you grow up in somewhere that's not where you're from. But it really does like change your perspective, and it kind of, not that it like shakes you up a bit, but it makes you think about the world in a different way. Think about like being what you are in a different way. For example, like I have an American passport, but haven't lived like long term in America for 11 years at this point, you know?
Okay.
So it's, you kind of have to like think of yourself and find your own identity, not just default to the country you were born in.
No, that's a very powerful statement to find yourself. You know, you experience so much. Like I really like that.
Yeah. So it's difficult, but I think it's well worth it.
Yeah, it's a net positive in the end, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That is perfect.
Is it too basic to say the people I've met?
No,
so it goes hand in hand with the first one, but just like especially since moving like to here, to France, just going out and exploring and meeting a lot of different people with a lot of different worldviews. Because when I was growing up, I was raised as a Christian, and a lot of Christians were around me. I was in a lot of Christian communities, and not that it was a bad thing, but it kind of limits your scope of how the world works and like the ways that are acceptable to live life.
Okay.
It kind of it kind of just reduces like what you think is possible, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Or like certain lifestyles are just like not looked highly upon, basically.
Okay.
Just based on certain beliefs, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Everyone can believe what they want to believe. But yeah, it was a lot of discovery and finding out about like how different people live, kind of, which was great.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, especially recently, that has been a big thing for me. Just discovering new places and new ways of life.
Oh, the connections you make, right?
So like even living in a bunch of different places, visiting a bunch of different countries, like as a young person, I'm still discovering. Like you can never go to everywhere in the world. Like you're always going to find something new, and you can always meet new people, and you can really learn something new from anybody that you meet. Which is awesome.
That's what I believe, and that's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Right? Because you start talking and you realize there's people that have so much in common than you, like so much in common with you. There's people that are different to you, but we're all humans at the end of the day, right? And we're all living our story. So that's what. And then the third one, if you can think of.
Oh, it's the thing is to find which one to pick. I'll go with my parents.
Okay.
And not just like my parents, obviously everyone's influenced by their parents, but something specific would be the way that they kind of allowed me to be myself and didn't hold me back if I wanted to try something new or do something, even if it was like kind of stupid, or like even just like letting me dress however I wanted when I was a kid. Like it was horrendous fashion-wise, but it was what I wanted at the time. And yeah, I think that was very valuable in me. Like just being able not to like quote unquote experiment, but just like to be free in what I wanted to do and what I was interested in. It kind of just gave me the belief that I can, not to be cliche, but like could do whatever I wanted to do. And as long as I wanted to do it, that's the only thing that can stop me.
Yeah, speaking to you for like 30 minutes, I definitely believe that you had the freedom for self-discovery.
Yeah.
Like growing up, and that's kind of shaped you, right? Like now the different ventures you're doing, they're all about like art, self-discovery.
Yeah, and I'm very grateful for it, because one of the things I've learned from meeting people is that not everyone had that privilege. Mm-hmm. Some people are under crazy amounts of pressure from parents and like communities, even more than I was, to just act a certain way, live a certain way. But my parents really, even though they were and still are obviously very strong, like Christians, very strong in their faith, and taught me about it, obviously. But they were never forceful in it, in like pushing the beliefs onto me, and I never really felt that from a lot of people. And I know that's not the experience of everyone. Some people get really, some people honestly get traumatized from their parents forcing stuff on them and things they don't want to do. And they don't get to have the freedom to try new things, which really sucks in my opinion. But I'm grateful and trying to use that privilege that I had to the best that I can. So,
okay. And just the finishing question, what's next? What do you think, like one thing if you can focus on from now till let's say year, and where do you see yourself in a year's time? An interview question to finish?
In a year's time?
Yeah, like ideally.
I mean, hopefully I'll be doing the things that I'm still doing, just at a year's worth of experience, higher level, and so my goal right now is just to be consistent in the things that I'm trying to build and create, and the skills I'm developing just to,
Yeah, beautiful.
to reach where I want to go, basically. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for your time.
Yeah.